Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to TFC Open Mic Season 2, Episode 22. BP time with TSM, apparently, according to Liam99. Good evening, everybody. Welcome on the panel.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Gentlemen.
Okay, I won't
Hello.
cough too much, but I do promise you I wasn't even in the house 3 minutes ago. Now I am. But hey, we're up, we're running, and we're good. So, I think the word tonight is going to be mud gluts. Is that right?
There's going to be a lot of stuff tonight, I think.
I think there'll be a lot of stuff tonight, yeah?
I think there's going to be a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we got the 113s too.
How much time?
Oh, well, yeah, 113s and everything. Well, blimey. FM transition, 113s. I even dropped down and played around back in with some 102s just to see if I can get some ideas for my lower players in my alliance because I've forgotten how to do them. But that was only as a transition period anyway. So, yeah, welcome all those in the chat, by the way. Yeah, so what do you want to start with, guys? You pick. Should we say FM transition first?
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the first thing is, are we surprised that it transitioned as fast as it has 2 weeks before the raid, and the fact that these 2 weeks are key to getting a hell of a lot of build tokens?
Yes.
Which yeah. So,
Go
on, Nines.
happy, Jam.
Go on. We'll go on the line. Okay, it's a bit from my left to right. Then I'll pick up Nines. Nines, what's your thoughts first, mate?
Well, I've managed to get them down to 40 minutes apiece with my Empyreans, but yeah, to me, it's no coincidence that there's tons of tokens and you have to get past them to do it, or spend the next 24 hours probably doing 102s.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's a fair assessment, I think, to be honest. 102 is what, 27,000 points, something like that?
Yeah.
27 million, I think.
Oh, sorry, 27 million. Yeah, I keep saying thousands, it's million, isn't it? I don't know why everybody has to keep adding noughts on the end of these things. Why can't it just be 27 points and you just need, 350? But,
This is America. We use the imperial system, and it sucks.
Hey, it's better than doing 87s.
You seem to put zero,
Oh, God, please.
10 zeros on everything.
Our numbers are huge and also make no sense because this is America.
It's gazillions.
We have the biggest numbers, the best numbers.
Huge, yes.
You made them numbers
Huge.
great again.
Let's not talk about trade deficit. Yeah, anyway, so... Yeah. So, Brian, go on. You're next on the list, mate. What are you... how you been doing now we've lost the 109s?
I've been doing fine. I took a grid and some monos in, expected it to crush, and it didn't. Then I heard some people were doing Zealous to good effect, so Zealous and monos is what I'm using. I'm learning and iterating different strategies, ways to snipe at center buildings without running the gauntlet of rockets. Possibly you might theoretically be able to do it with a Punisher and Citadels, but it will take forever and you will have a lot of repair. I'm not surprised that the change happened when we got a lot of tokens. I am surprised the change happened 2 weeks early, and I think that's a big problem, especially with the necessity of the FM in this game. And I know they just almost gave a lot of people monos, but it's the same as with the Citadels. You do still have to build them, and they're given some build tokens to start, but it's a little rough. So try building a Zealous and using a Zealous and Sits instead. It'll do all right, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, George is next to the list, but would you agree they're sort of definitely trying to wean us off the Citadel? Would you agree with that, George?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think what they're trying to do is have the Citadel be a lower tier hull. You know what I mean? You can still get that in the Zealous in the lower tiers of the FM, and that should still let you do some of the other targets, but not. I don't think they want you to be hitting the top targets with that old tech.
Yeah.
Although I have seen people hit with the Zealous and Citadels, I have seen people hit the 113s successfully. So,
Yeah, Caesar.
As far as the transition, I mean, I'm not going to ascribe to the tinfoil hat theory that they did it because of the tokens. I think that I am shocked that they didn't transition like they did before, where they gave us a month of concurrent stuff. Yeah, the overlap would have been nice. I'm not entirely sure why they did not. I mean, we did crack the 113 the first day. I mean, I got it down to, I think, 12 minutes, the cheapest, and like 17 to 25 minutes with the grid and mono. The catch is I'm using charged armor.
Oh, right.
You know, so I don't know, like I have not had a chance to figure out how much damage you would take without it. But yeah, you know, I don't know about the transition. I wish they had done a little bit more of a concurrent thing. And I also, and I think this goes to your question, TSM. I think that, you know, the targets are very punitive. They said that as these targets go to the map for everything, I mean, this is the mining targets is everything. They're supposed to be tuned down for the map, and these just don't feel like it. They're very punitive. You make one mistake and you have a lot of repair. You know, and
Yeah,
unlike the mines, you're on a timer.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, and you're on a timer. With the FM, you're on a timer. You don't have, you know, you can't just go, okay, well, I'll do it tomorrow or do it the next day or whatever.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's something. I mean, I think with a Zealous tank rather than a Punisher tank, I think you do have a bit more of a chance because yes, you can get into position. Because half of this is all about merving issues and that sort of stuff. You know, with a pun tank, you know, you don't really have enough time to get the thing down in the right position, outrun the merv, or as best as you can outrun the merv, and then set your sits up. If you're going to use citadels, then, you know, or even if you're using, you know, imps and that sort of stuff, you know, Imperiums, for those that have built the, you know, the generalist hulls. Yeah. The thing that annoys me with the mono fleets, particularly the ones obviously with the flag as well, is it's still the fact, and I used mine this week just as I finished my FM, but I thought, well, I'm not doing anything, so I'll go and play. It's just that twin speed up thing, unlike Apollo's, you know, where the flag is the same thing as the remainder. It's bloody annoying.
Yeah, it's annoying as hell. It really is. And you know, not to beat this dead horse, but the Zealous is a better tank than the Grid still. Even still,
I think so. Yeah.
And when we get to the TLCs, I mean, I found out firsthand what happens when you have the Grid in there, and now that they changed the charged armor, you know, that thing needs another armor slot at least. But that's another story. But yeah, it's the transition would have helped, but I think I don't know that I'm going to ascribe to it. Going, oh well, they did it because of the tokens.
Well, we won't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know, but I don't know that. I think there was other things at play than just that. I think it has a lot to do with what you said about them trying to wean us off of the citadels.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I'm thinking that for my alt account is maybe making 3 Zealous with Quake cannons. And you know, and then whacking them up with some charge armor, and then just driving them around, because they did quite all right in the first. I don't know how they did in the second raid. I don't know, but at least using them for the FM then, and maybe just going one target down, just so I can zip around like Punishers always did with the 102s.
Yep.
That seems quite feasible.
If you want, we have a guy that's got some Quake Zelos with, I think, charged armor. I'll get back to you on how they do.
Yeah, ping us a PM for a video, and we'll see how things go. And you know, it just gives other people ideas, because getting hold of the Zealous isn't too bad, and actually building them once the hull's built, it's quite reasonable, isn't it? To be honest, you know, I've managed to put something together, and it's only got, I think, about six Quake cannons, and I think 2 Zs, 2 Xs, siege, and whilst it only looks like 12,500 damage on these things, obviously reloads every second, even without ranking them. You know, the structural damage is crazy, because it's I think it's something like 170% building damage, 170% wall, something like that, which is, you know, quite decent, to be honest.
I'm gonna laugh if they come out with a remote targeting ship for assault raid. What's gonna be our first go-to tank?
Well, yeah, without a doubt. Yes. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Wow. Okay. I'm not sure we'll mention the raid at the moment, George.
We'll get that later. Yeah.
That is the appropriate response.
Gods. We'll definitely mention the raid, because obviously if it was on last night's show, then we'll pick it up. But gods, that's interesting. Okay. Peter, for yourself, mate, this format, FM change, and looking forward.
Well, I'm doing kind of okay with my Imperiums. They can handle 2 113s before they need to be repaired. So it's, you know, instead of being able to knock off both runs in one day with the 109s. I have to take a little more time with it. Though I have noticed something interesting about the Legion fleets in the 113, particularly the two that come in off the top.
Yeah.
If you can knock out the 2 turret clusters on the top, they'll be able to come down, and I don't know what the hell kind of mortars they have on the citadels in those Legion fleets, but they can reach the center of the garrison, which means that they can unshroud the rocket turrets and then kill them for you so that you don't have to go on a trench run.
Ah. That's interesting. I must admit, I'm a lazy icebreaker driver. So
yeah. The trench run ain't that bad. I mean, I did a video. The video that I did had it was 17 minutes of damage, and I literally went the long way, went inside, did the trench run, came back out, and finished the trench. It's just, I think it goes back to that punitive thing. If you just mess up a little bit, you're gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's not
if you hug the wall, you're good.
It's the potential of the trench run, not so much the execution. I feel like if I drop 5 frames somehow, that my tank is going to die, because that's what it's always done with these rockets.
Yeah.
Quick question on the 113s. Has anyone noticed the top left Legion fleet when it comes in? It's shrouded.
Yes. Well, they are shrouded until they get so far in.
The one on the right is too. I haven't see if it was by time or if it's by hitting something else to unshroud them.
No, I think it's an error. I think a couple of people said it's definitely by range. They get so far in, and then they because you can't chase them. I don't know what that is, but I tried zipping straight up with my icebreakers, and I couldn't get them. They were all shrouded, both sets, and then I pulled back in towards the center, and then they unshrouded both of them at all. So it was definitely by range, not by time.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. I took my Hyperions up there and was pounding on them for about 3-4 minutes before I figured it out.
Yeah, it's definitely range. Whether it's range from the center or whether it's range from your own fleet, but it seemed to me that because I was just inching forward a bit at a time and just testing out various different things, and I think it was from the center of the garrison target itself. To be honest, I'm not sure.
I was thinking that it might be range from the edge of the map, for lack of a better term.
Well, that's potential, yeah. I mean, in concept, I suppose that's similar, isn't it? I mean, it's either from the center or from the edge, but they unshrouded automatically as soon as they got to a certain sort of like distance anyway from, and your ships and the positioning of your ships had nothing to do with it, from what I could work out.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, Robin, what about yourself? Anything extra, or should we move on to something else?
I still have a couple points. With respects to the difficulty of the targets, there hasn't been a single target in BP that we have not been able to crack. So I expected the new targets to be hard. I expected it to take a while for us to get in and figure out what the magic path is and all that kind of stuff. And I agree with George and what he's saying, that I think the damage itself is a little bit over the top. But I still have problems with the transition in that kicks themselves have been preaching since the beginning, the targets are going to change in June, targets are going to change in June. We've all been telling our alliance people targets are going to change in June, plan for that. And I'm still frustrated at why there was this god-awful, oh my God, we have to do this today, and, to make those changes without that transition. And I've got folks in my alliance where this has just totally hosed them. And everybody counts down how many tokens they're going to reduce, and we all know that, okay, we've got 5 prizes this month, so I know I'm going to get at least X many days of tokens plus what I'm going to get in the raid. There were folks that were planning on having that extra stuff, and so for kicks, it's very frustrating when you share information with people, you tell them to plan, and people plan accordingly, and then they just all of a sudden rip the carpet out from underneath you.
Yeah, it is a bit interesting. I must admit, I'm for the first time, somebody actually in my alliance itself, they were hitting a 102 target, and then that option that came up for the blitz, and he was like, well, yeah, now I could do that, and it cost me 60 coins, and that gets me to the 350 mark, and actually, is it cheaper to do that, or is it cheaper to try and go up to the shop and try and get some build tokens because I wanted to finish another ship? and it turned out that actually it was considerably cheaper to get his second run through, because he was always out of time because he was trying to do it, just routinely going in and hitting the target and then fixing and then hitting another one and fixing. And as Nines was saying, it takes forever, and obviously 102s are going to disappear, so he's got to do something different. But it was just to build a zealous tank, which he didn't have because he'd been using punishers. So yeah, it's in that instance, it was weird that I actually saw someone in my alliance the first time actually coin an FM, which I thought was pretty geekish, to be honest, when he was used to just going 1, 2, 3, 109s and it's done. So yeah, I think the first week this week should have been, the first run of the week should have been 109s, but maybe 50-50 109s, 113s, and then the one before the raid maybe I don't know, more 113s than the odd 119, and then stop them after the raid. That's my good.
Yeah,
good
and because that's what they've been preaching to us since the beginning. It's one thing to, if they'd have started early and had both targets out there, I would have been fine with that. But the whole, oops, sorry, here, starting tomorrow, we're going to do this. I just, we've talked about transparency and we've talked about communication. I just think it's something that could have been handled a lot better than they did. They didn't just wake up and decide on Tuesday morning and say, okay, we're going to change this today. So it's almost like the left hand isn't talking to the right hand. And unfortunately, when that happens, the players are the ones that suffer. So I think they really need to look at how they handle that communication and the lead time of that communication.
Yeah, cool. I'll just say quick evening, Mike. How are you, mate?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I know you're doing okay.
Yeah, not so bad in general. It's quite good. Venom, anything you want to add apart from the points that we've covered already?
Yes.
Yeah, go on.
You're talking about in the 113 having to run the gauntlet to uncover
into the center. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're running a Zeros with a missile, you don't have to run the gauntlet at all.
You can nip the thing, can't you?
Just go left towards where the mortar is firing from and just nip the building. And you don't have to run the gauntlet. You take much less damage.
And you can splash them to pieces, can't you? Yeah.
So you don't have to. You don't get hit by all.
Yeah, agreed. It does make a lot of difference, and I saw that. There's been a couple of videos recently, that sort of stuff, and some very good ones actually that have come out in the last couple of days. The thing is, just bear in mind, and I'll put this in because it's always the case. The 113 is the 113 at the moment, but it's not going to say this is going to be the final reiteration of the 113 because I still see some adjustments even now. So I'm not saying you won't be able to use the fleet you're using, but the damage output in some of the areas, we all know that happened to the 109. It definitely happened into the 87, the old 85. It just happens. So, whilst they smooth their way into it, we're going to have these targets for an awful long time, and they will settle themselves down where they're happy with the damage versus points versus payout, not necessarily what we're happy with.
Well, the Rado said last night, by the way, in case anyone didn't know, that they will supposedly be reaping every 6 hours.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Is that to overcome the let's go around the outside and leave everything else moment, is it?
Well, I know the team's looking at the targets right now, so I don't know how much is going to change, but I know that they had discussed a reap time, and initially it was like 12 hours or something, and
that's too long.
Laredo had been in the chat, I guess, and they got it down to 6. And some people are like, oh, that's not enough. You got to do it every hour and this and that. And I'm like,
that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But I mean,
6
is better than nothing. I mean, at least you know that you'll be able to find a full 113 somewhere. And once you kill it, it'll respawn and there you go.
Yeah, just remember, you haven't got to stay in your own sector to do that as well. You can go and reap other people. So
no, that's really good to hear that.
Yeah, 6 is more like it.
Though I would have been happy if they did the swap about the same as they did the Scourge Mines 2-3 months after.
Go on, remind me.
So.
They're not going to wait 3 months to change the FM, man. That wasn't going to happen at all. I would have liked. Yeah, I would have liked some overlap, but and the other thing too is where there's so many. I mean, right off the bat, there's so many people gutting these things. I am not going to be surprised. Do not be surprised if they change the points distribution on these targets. I would not be shocked at all.
Yeah, I mentioned I think that should happen as well. And I was thinking, if you, I'd like to see them actually, believe it or not, at the 120 per target if you did the whole thing. So you got a little bonus of maybe 10 if you did it as a oneer, which means obviously you just got to hit 3.
You do 3 of them, yeah. That's not
and you got to
bad.
do 3 and not 3 of a bit, because otherwise the bit means you're going to leave a part of a target. Because you're not going to go for the next one down because it's just wasted effort. So if you do a complete one, you get 120. If you did it in 2 halves, it does come back to the 110. But I think if you put 12.5 million per corner ish or thereabouts, or 12, and then the little buildings are worth about 500k or something like that, then that leaves a nice hefty chunk in the center.
The chunk in the center right now, someone told me, I can't remember, but I think it's like 27 million for the center only, and everything else is of course, like we said, the majority of the points, but the points just for rimming.
Yeah, it isn't just for rimming. If we don't forget, those fleets aren't fun, for a lot of people and that sort of stuff on the outside. But as we smooth into it, come on, it's sort of like it's almost like day 1, hour 1 of a year to go sort of stuff. So we are going to get better fleets, and we are going to get some better ideas and that sort of stuff. And we'll all crack it as Robin was saying.
Are we going to get better fleets though?
Let's reword it. Our fleets will get better.
We will refit the fleets that because we're not supposed to go.
I'm not sure. Yeah, see, I'm not sure that's going to happen now that they've delineated each section. Like we're going to go into assault. How much of the assault stuff's going to transition to that you could use in the FM? I wouldn't bet on that. Whereas in the past, when the 97 first came out and then turned into the 107, we were still getting tech that overlapped into different areas. I don't know that you're going to see as much of that going forward.
Do you want my view?
Yeah, go on, mate.
You will need your tinfoil hats for this one. You're looking at an assault raid, very close from when they released the Hyperion without having to use an assault class to get it. And it looks almost as if they're trying to bring the Hyperion more into the game. So my general thought is, with this assault raid, you're going to get more assault classes to do something along the lines of the Hyperion, along with this raid that we're doing at the moment, having the Hyperion being built in the targets. So I would say sometime in the near future there's going to be some Hyperion event that we're all going to have just a complete joy with.
A joy. I like that.
I'll say
for certain definitions thereof.
Well, as long as they don't,
I expect the.
Go on, right. Okay, Nines, you go first, mate. Go on.
Well, no, I was just going to say I expect the new Hyperion to come out this next cycle.
Yeah, well, it might happen because that should be Reaver next, shouldn't it? So that would sort of like pan out, I think, with what's coming in the assault targets, isn't it? Because they were talking about doing lots of fire and brimstone type stuff, isn't it? So that's possible.
Well, that, and if they make it so a new Hyperion comes out every assault cycle, it gives plenty of time for people to build up, and we can actually have some fun with the Hyperion. At least it's my hope.
I don't see him doing a lot of Hyperion stuff until more players start being active in it, honestly.
The top 5 that have really gone early on it and that sort of stuff. Yeah, we're up to what, 370, 380s and that sort of stuff. But a lot of people are still down in the, when they gifted the gantry. A lot of people are still down in the 140s and that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, I think with that sort of thing, it's a drag people through it rather than they encourage people. I'm not sure if it's. Most people are being dragged into it rather than are fighting to get into it, if you know what I mean. So, but once you're in it and you're up and around it, because it's a King of the Castle game, isn't it, as ever? Where it was till Mudgluts got nerfed, but
Yeah, I don't mind the thought of having a separate event for Hyperions, and I think I have one, and I think that would be fun as long as the event is for folks that have Hyperions and that people that don't have them, like it's not a raid type thing. Because they've always said that the Hyperion would be a separate game. So as long as it's not a regular raid, then I think that would be kind of interesting. But if they're going to try and bring Hyperions into the actual raid set, then that's going to cause some issues for people.
That would annoy people to death, I have to say. Yes, you're right there.
Yeah,
kind of like a Hyperion FAT almost.
Well, they can do a Hyperion whatever they like, so long as it doesn't give you
Yeah.
something in the game that other people can't get that impacts on anything on the game that's not to do with mega hulls, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, they could just give like
So-
a weapon specifically for the mega hulls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Free repair on it and call it a day.
Yeah, true. That's a fair point. Okay, right. So FM done to death. A bit of a conspiracy theory, which I like, and that sort of stuff. There. Let's talk about TLC, shall we? So, look, I mean, TLCs. Let's have a look at some of the interesting ones first. I think. Should we talk about the Alpha Defense first? Because it's quite comical. Do you wanna...
Sure, why not?
5-minute run through if you have Mudgluts.
Yeah. Well, now let's just say you didn't have. Hey, Jeff, how you doing, mate?
Hey.
So those that didn't have Mudgluts, I mean, we'll talk about that in a second. But who did Alpha Defense then without Mudgluts? By the way, anybody here?
I
Yeah.
I had one built Pride, 3 Pride shells. I don't know if I built a Survivor at that point just for the corrosive deflection. I think I did, but you only need like 1 fully built Pride. Just have the others as shells for their stacking resistances or deflections, and you just run it. Just you could just click the back of the base with your 1 Pride, as long as it's fully built and skulled up. You just destroy them. It's quite easy.
Yeah, I mean it's a nice little campaign, like you say, you know, and it's a nice. Obviously, the first round is relatively, I think, pretty straightforward. I mean, you've got to be very cautious here because obviously, as a high level player, it's very easy for me to go, oh, it's all easy and that sort of stuff, and then people in their 50s to 70 range are going, you're having a giraffe, aren't you, mate? It's the hardest thing I've ever done, you know. So, but I think, and I have to say, you know, yet again, there's the word pride. You know, that whole so needs to come out in this, you know, this Textor raid. Because it's cheap. And cheap because it's
Cheap.
It seems to be because the prideful has been such an absolute, you know, game changer for some. I mean, Brian's a classic example. It's, you know, as I said, build some holes just blank, sit them in the corner because you get the 5 there or 4 or whatever, and it's giving you that prideful effect. You only got to take 1 in. If you build it right, it can you know, can really change and transform your experience.
Yeah, it seems to be the basis of every TLC that involves Conqueror hulls, and you know, if that's the case, then without it, you're locking out people from that aspect of the game. So yeah, I want to see that for really cheap. Like I mean, really cheap in the tech raid.
$1 million?
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Me either.
Here.
Though people might get called a hacker if they manage to start taking bases.
I don't think so.
Taking bases of the Prides has been happening since the Pride came out.
Well, I
Deal
meant
with
with, say, 1 Pride. Venom?
What about hackers? What?
No, but I mean, I don't think. You know, to be honest, I mean, look, I had an 86 run through my base with some Mudgluts and that sort of stuff, and I'm a level 122. I don't give a rat's ass. Doesn't matter. You know, at least the guy's doing PvP, and he probably hasn't been doing for an awful long time. So he's got back into the game and he's doing something he wasn't doing probably for months. Well, he certainly never attacked me before, you know. And so what? I got a fixed button the same as everybody else, you know. So the yin yang's gone one way all of a sudden, that sort of stuff. But it'll bounce back. I'm sure it will, you know. So the point is, I've seen more base hitting. Okay, yes, with the pointy click stuff, but a lot of people are stopping them already. You know, there's lots of thoughts about spacing out your ships and basically not being lazy. I haven't changed my base in probably 6 months because I'm just freaking idle. You know, once you set yourself for something that, you know, can stop 99.9% of stuff, you know, it's good enough as far as I'm concerned.
Amen.
So you know, I don't mind the little guys having a little bit of a one-up on other people. It must be a really nice feeling being an 80-something, going and smashing a 122 and go, mate, I just walked your base.
Oh yeah,
Well done.
It's just hilarious to do.
I do want to give Kix credit for actually coming out with that campaign though, because it seemed like it was an initial reaction to the Mudglut.
Timely, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, and initially it came out and it was just the alpha like the old one was, and you know, they changed it to the Harlock alpha. I think that was a good move on that part.
You say that, but with that Harlock, there's a massive flaw in it.
Well, yeah, we know there's a flaw.
But mudguts can just walk past it anyway. So
Yeah, I mean,
Yes and no. I mean, it depends on how you have your base set up. I mean, it's a tool, and it's a tool that has a good aspect towards the mud glut, and the fact that they made it available that quickly for that ease of the targets. I mean, that's good on them.
I mean, yes, they can run past it. Of course they can. That sort of stuff. Especially if you're doing like the flamethrowers and that sort of stuff. But
Well,
you can then put it on a corner, and actually they've got to get all the way around that corner. And if you've got certain things that mudgluts don't like and that sort of stuff, my biggest concern is that half the stuff that mudgluts are supposed to die from don't seem to hit the underwater.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
But the problem with
other
it is you can kill the Harlock very, very, very easily with mudguts if you do something very specific, which I
We all know it's it's annoying, isn't it? I'm still think that might get fixed or might not get fixed. I don't know, but it's
or you put it in the back of the base where it's not going to get whacked by the mudgluts when it gets pinched. But
that's very true.
One of the other things that Laredo just posted in the chat too is that the chromium overlay is being looked at to see if they can adjust it so the corrosive defense and deflection adds to other buildings and ships as well, other than just the walls.
That would be handy.
That would be an excellent change. Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
that would be very helpful.
All those overlays should respond as per what it states in the BP, and not the assumption that we all be making. Because it mentions buildings, and we all know it doesn't do anything for buildings. Full stop.
Yep.
The radio, I love you.
Yeah, but that's an offline issue. Nines, come on.
Yeah, you can contact him. You can contact him after the show, and
I will say it this way: if you can make it so your Harlock Alpha does not get pinched, bombers do a absolutely amazing job.
Yeah, I was going to say there's things you can do with the bombers and that sort of stuff. There are some stuff out there, with the HVR shells and the bombers. I've been playing. I've got some stuff. I've almost finished building. In fact, I don't have any ships to build because a lot of the stuff that's at the moment I think is pretty trash. So I've been playing around with things like that. So
I think somebody mentioned in the Forsaken Council group on Facebook that he used, I think it was a Harlock Alpha as a spotter and Valkyrie carriers to take out a mudglut fleet. Because remember, the Valkyrie has that random cavitation UAV override, which will force subs to surface.
Yeah.
That is nasty.
When did you even get the Valkyrie? Is that like a FAT
That
price
was
or
an
something?
old.
it was a fat.
That was a fat price.
Oh, that's why I don't have it. Okay.
And then it was in a raid, but it was
Yeah, it was in a raid once.
There's lots of things you can do. You can if you can get your your subsurface special to go on your mort chuck and that sort of stuff. If you get your ghost core in the right place, you can pick up mudgluts quite easy and that sort of stuff. I'm just very lazy about building base defenses, and so I've got lots of ideas, but it's actually sitting down and putting my thoughts into practice and bothering my ass to actually do something about it. So.
Well, thanks to the Alpha TLC and a couple extra tokens, I had to wait 12 hours for pretty much a scalded out Harlock Alpha.
All right, that's good.
Hence why I said good on Kickside that they actually did it. I think they need some credit for that.
Yep.
Okay, good. So there we go. So that, like I said, that's Alpha Defense. It's a pretty straightforward one. And yes, we know if you've already got the mudgluts, it almost makes it a bit of a farce because you can zip round through, as George and I said, and actually you don't even have to surface once. But with a pride and that sort of stuff, and there are a couple of other ships that you can utilize as well to get in there and get yourself that actually pretty decent prize because it's a raid prize and it was one of the top prizes on the right tier. So. You've virtually been gifted that if you can get anywhere close to getting to the centre of the first base, to be honest.
Yeah, pretty much.
What are we talking about endgame, guys? Did everybody get all the way through endgame? Did people do that? I didn't bother doing the last round myself, but I mean,
yeah, that was an interesting one. The first two aren't bad. It's the old, it's raid targets, so you can look at a bunch of videos on YouTube to see how people did it with a variety of things. I mean, I posted a video of someone doing it with Tide Seekers, someone doing it with Zealous and Citadels, and then ours that we did it with the Gridiron Monos.
Yeah.
Prize pack 3 and 4, on the other hand, are interesting. The way that the targets are designed.
George.
Are you talking about Call to Arms, George?
Game.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, do endgame first, mate. So that's the
okay.
So that's the fuel tank, obviously, and obviously the one I like, which is especially if you can get your glow scoring at spot, you get the D99S explosive turret, which gives you 30k underwater. You know, and you get it's the oppressor one, you know, the one with the oppressor tank on the third round.
I'm actually doing it with 3 Apollos, getting all the ships out of there, then going back in with my Zelos and Empyreans, killing all the buildings.
All right.
I can insta repair the Zelos, the first 2, and then 20 minutes damage on the last assault target, and just clean up with mud gluts at the end.
Well, that's yeah. I'm okay. Well, I was hoping we weren't going to make some mud gluts.
Okay, and I did it one time with Pride and a couple, 1 full Pride, 2 blanks, and 2 vendettas.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you don't have to have mud gluts because obviously not everyone's got them. But yeah, so a little bit of a sweep first with Apollos, which most people just seem to have a few of those, obviously.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell is that quick ship in the white one that shoots the scatter thing.
Heavy cruiser.
That's the Legion heavy cruiser.
The heavy cruisers now do a lot more damage than they did before. Don't get hit by them. Keep out of their range because they do an outrageous amount of damage now.
You lose half your fleet.
The Zoe's Rhinos doing a lot more damage too.
They definitely tweak them. Yeah,
and they die slower.
I didn't see that much difference with the Zoes, but those heavy cruisers, like they will take out half your damn fleet. It's insane. With one shot. I don't know why they changed it, or you know, it was a shock.
It is.
I am taking more damage in those than I did even in the raid, though.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, to be honest. I don't know. I still don't see the worth. I've got 4 oppressors built and that sort of stuff, and apart from we happened to do that TLC the other day, I don't find any use for the damn things, to be honest. I don't find them very helpful as a. I'm really frustrated at the fact that their capability and the lack of their capability to stand up to anything that's got even the words E for explosive attached to it. It just doesn't seem to work, you know.
They really don't work well unless they got full bloodthirst, and that's I think a flaw.
But the time they've got full bloodthirst, it's a bit too late, isn't it? Because obviously the only thing that's leading them has got to go and get the bloodthirst first, and then obviously by the time you bring them in, you haven't got time to bring them into effect into a base hit.
Right.
It just takes too long.
I'm building 2 because they will be free builds with the tokens, and other than that, I'm just building for that reason.
I mean, I've got 4, and hey, Happy, how you doing? And I've been to 2 of them, to be honest, because I mean, apart from that campaign the other day, we had to use them quite decently. You could run through and use them actually as a lead ship for a change. It was all ballistic. Yep. You know, I'm just not overly impressed, to be honest. They were,
Well, I built 2 just because it seems that you know each successive TLC requires something from the previous one, so. You know, I got 2, and that's about all I'm going to do is 2.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Okay, has anybody got anything different they've been doing with Endgame that's not that's caught them out, or are they generally quite happy with it? I mean, I didn't go the whole way through.
So far myself.
No, but I noticed each round is the 5 hours or more.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, as opposed to the like sort of 12 hours, 6 hours, 3 hour, 1 hour type things. It's
1 hour.
Yeah, the stepping moment as they tend to do it, sort of stuff. Yeah, or 6 hours, 3 hours, 1 hour sometimes. So sometimes some of them have been actually, to be honest, they've been 6 hours, haven't they? Then 1 hour, 1 hour, isn't they? Which probably brings us on nicely to Call to Arms, doesn't it? So, George, you can step off again if you want to.
Continue on the.
Yeah, we're going on to Call of Arms now, which is obviously the fact that we can get, I mean, let's be honest, Call to Arms is fantastic in some respects because you get, 5 days worth of build tokens for the monolith straight away, and you get all the specials, the hull, and build tokens, and the over/under, if you really want to use that one there, as opposed to one that came in at the tier 4 of the FM. But even if you wanted to wait and did price pack 2, you can still get through to the D85D, and then another 10 flipping build tokens. So that's pretty decent, but it comes at a cost, doesn't it?
Well,
let's not say it's free. It's not free, is it? I mean, let's be honest.
It's not free, but the first two playthroughs are the raid targets, and there are several options that you can. I mean, people were doing them with everything. It's just like the first raid. You could bring in almost anything to do them, and you can be successful. There was like I said, there's a video that I posted up that someone was doing it with Tide Seekers, for crying out loud. So, the options for the first two are enormous. So you could probably and you don't have to do it within an hour either. That's the other thing. You have time to do those first two. 3 and 4, on the other hand, are they're different. They're definitely different. They did design those, I think, specifically to keep out the citadels. I mean, you to enter every single one, you have to go through a shrouded channel, and most of them. There's one of them that you have to actually engage every single cold snap. Cold snaps outrange your missile, so you are engaging and getting shot at by the cold snaps. And I did record Prize Pack 4 because that has all the targets of 3 plus the last one and 4, and I'd made a huge mistake. I mean, I made a huge mistake. I think it was in number 5, and I had gone and instead of attacking the center island, that decided to go up on the side and try and shimmy on the side, and I got hit by mortars and didn't realize that I had lost my charge for explosive.
Ouch.
And I finished the target and I was like, what the hell? Like my grid was like, barely scratched. I was doing really good, and all of a sudden it's almost dead. Even still, with it almost dead, I still got through the last 2 and did the whole thing, no coins and slow repaired. But the catch is I don't know that without charged armor if you can pull it off. Not in the hour. It's tight. I mean, it's very tight. So Prize Pack 3 and Prize Pack 4 are interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I'm dubious about the worth of Prize Pack 4 for the damage for some people and that sort of stuff, because if you've got a Zealous tank, I think you can, you have to really justify going in there, and because I don't think for most people it's going to be cheap. I really don't. Even if you've got a Ren fleet and that sort of stuff, you've got to do a lot of dancing. The thing I find with these targets is there's not much space. Although they're quite big targets, there's not a lot of room to dance. You're in the middle of these damn things. There's mortars raining down you from flipping gazillion miles away and that sort of stuff. And the arcs are quite high. And by the time you spot the goddamn things, you think, right, actually, I've got to move my back line. Now I've got to move my front line. Your concept of stacking, George, I know you like to play and that sort of stuff, is great up until the point, like you said, if you haven't got the plank, if you haven't got plate, the right, the X and the M and that sort of stuff on all your back line as well as the front line. Well, you're going to have a bad day very quickly.
Well, the thing is you can't stack in these targets. I mean, that's something that I noticed, and I was trying to ignore it because I don't want to comment on that. But it seems that the way that they're designed, you just don't want to stack. You really do not want to stack your fleet.
So then, in that concept, then that grid mono, if you're going to use that at the front end, you've got to have it pointing the right way, else you're not going to get the bonus effect of that stupid wake that's tacking on behind you.
I ignore the wake. The tactical field anyway. I mean, it's too much of a bother, so I just drove it.
But isn't that frustrating?
Yeah, it's very frustrating. I mean, that's the whole point of having the bloody thing. And the other thing too, that you said whether it's worth it or not to do that last one. I don't know that it is, because the Zealous tank actually is. It seems to be performing better than the Gridiron.
The 40 million point, 20 almost a month to build Gridiron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
outperformed by the Zealous tank.
Pack 3, my Zealous face hugged every single one of those turret clusters. I made it all the way to the end. And I'm running 2 M's and 3 X's. But I'll say this much. I'm going to say screw it, and I'm going to be even lazier than George. I'm putting a Bullseye Crew one when I do my next Pack 3 run, and just saying screw it.
You've actually got a Bullseye Crew?
I've got 10 in my haul right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, but we can't count on those, unfortunately, because they're like hen's teeth. So Although you can get offered one for 72 coin every now and again. If you look into your shop.
I'm gonna sell all mine on eBay later on.
710. Got him.
You probably get some offers. That'd be really funny if you could put up. That would be worth a laugh just for a joke. Because I bet you someone would bid for that. I'd like to see them transfer it. But yeah, it would be.
I'll sell my bullseye screws, all 10 of them, for 1 Bitcoin apiece.
It's it is what it is in the day. So a difficult. What's nice is we've got three completely different. I'm not sure Endgame was needed, apart from the fact it's nice to have the turret. So maybe that's the reason Endgame turned up, because I was surprised to see that one, to be honest. It's it's great to have the press about
build tokens.
Endgame is get the special.
Yeah.
Maybe the rocket, whatever.
Yeah, the fuel tank X, is decent, isn't it? But I like the turret. So maybe they're just thinking, actually, if you can get through the Alpha defense, and then obviously you can get the Harlock Alpha, and if you can make it last long enough without dying, if you can find a place to put the turret, then obviously it hits submerged, doesn't it? And that would make a mess a bit of the Mudblood. So it's another way of combining other items.
Haven't they been repeating all of them?
It's just interesting how these two have come together, there's no synergy between the two, as far as I can say, apart from the fact that it's all about explosive and submersive, It may just be happening to happen that way. I don't know.
They repeated the one for the Liberator, too. I know we just got the one for Survivor.
Yeah, true. So quickly then, let's move on. We've got 10 minutes. There's two things I want to talk about, and Loreda's just picked up on one of them, if you can see in chat there, guys. But what I want to do really is talk about future tents, and that's obviously next week's raid, and that sort of stuff,
Week and a half.
It's speculation. I like speculation. It's good fun.
Oh, there was some speculation last night, and Laredo in chat kind of.
It's got to be a heavy show. Come on, there's always speculation. It's
I mean, he hinted at a 10-digit required point total to get the stuff that you want to get in the raid, and I'm like, 1 billion points.
Heck
That's
no.
a lot of points. I mean, I think we figured out if it was like 5 million per S target and you did it at 12 minutes a pop, it was 40 hours worth of playtime to get 1 billion points.
Yeah,
that's a lot of play. That's a lot of playtime. That is not what I, want to do.
It's not quite next week. It's 13 days time, isn't it? 13 days, 13 days time, something like that.
Something like that, I think. Yeah.
Week and a half.
Yeah, week and a half. That's it. Yeah,
but,
so it's not
that speculation kind of depressed me.
Well, I think it also depends. Is it you need 1 billion points because they're offering charged armor, and those that already have it, won't have to do it, or is it because there's going to be just so much stuff that people will be able to catch up?
We know we're going to have the new hull special and weapon, and then we're also going to have the Justice special and weapon, right? Plus anything else you want to get, like charged armors, which honestly I want to see those things at like 2.5 million. They should not be at 10 million. Not for the way that we need them. But
it's not a luxury anymore.
No.
Yeah, even for the FM probably it's necessary, which is stupid.
It'll be the same thing again as last time, though. I don't think anybody will be whoring themselves and going out and being a flipping merc for people. It'll be as per previous time, I think you'll be struggling to get what you want because some of the prize packs will be, particularly like the new hull, it'll cost gazillions of points and that sort of stuff, and you just won't be able to help the little man. I don't think there'll be that much options, to be honest.
I'm still not sure why we have such a high cost to the hull a month ahead of time. I mean, when they did it with the Hellwraith, everything worked so smoothly, and it was only 60 million. I don't know.
Especially when, like, the Cannoneer, they had to emergency hotfix offer people stuff to make it good.
Gift aid almost.
And the Icebreak, paywall.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah. Gift, yeah. It wasn't a gift.
It was free if you bought $10 at normal price, but, and, nice, yeah. And the Icebreaker was given to us a month early, and it was hot garbage, and even the rockets that we paid, what, 20 million for those rockets? They got outclassed 2 months later by the D100Vs. If this is the new Skyline carrier, is that what they're calling it?
Skyfire, I think.
Skyfire,
Thank you. Yeah.
Skyfire and
I just really want some chili. Thank you. The UAV and that, I don't think I'm gonna get it because UAVs have sucked for the history, and auto hulls have sucked for almost all of their history. I think the Tideseeker was an aberration because I don't think they understood how good the Calamity scattergun was with them. So I might not do that.
No, it's fair enough. I mean, the only thing I liked was, like you say, was the Drat carrier with not the initial UAV but the secondary one, and I had some fun with those, even in that previous FM. So I don't know.
I'm just worried about the UAV going into an assault raid where it's going after against ships, and we saw how well the CCM Scarab worked.
Yeah.
Well, I talked to Rue about this, but I know it's flavor text and all this, but if you read the flavor text, it's talking about built-in countermeasures on both of them.
And what does that have to do with the performance of a UAV?
No, I'm just saying performance of the ship.
The blank hole, you mean?
Yeah. But
okay, speculation. Look, at the end of the day, it's
It'd be interesting.
Let's just say it's intriguing. I'm just thinking the previous format. It's the first time we've gone second cycle now. Obviously, with the Garrison, we're going to go second cycle with the Assault. I'm just intrigued of where it's going and that sort of stuff. Like to see some previews, obviously beforehand, but we'll see. I don't know. Last 5 minutes, wouldn't mind. I just wanted to talk, if you wouldn't mind, guys, about Cruise.
Yeah, can I add one thing about the raid though?
Yeah, go on.
Real quick. I don't know if Mark or Rue is going to do it, but somebody, if they could put up another post to see what people want in the raid, we can pass that list on to Kickside too.
Robin, you happy for that one?
Yeah, I can do that.
This is the wants list, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like we did a poll last time, and people were just filling in so we could see what the top things were, and we can just pass that on too.
Bacon will be in there again.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm going to pre-fill the bacon one.
I can always feel bacon, and the glorious gunboat will be in there and that sort of stuff. But common sense stuff.
Bacon.
Some common sense would be quite nice. We did send through the top 10 from the show and that sort of stuff, and actually some of and 3 items got in from that top 10 list, so it does work, guys. Okay, when you poll and we get about out of the, what are we now, nearly 13,000 members, in 12 months or just over, so when the top 10 goes through from those people that do want things, it is listened to. So it's worthwhile.
Robin, can you please also put the Muddle Missile and the Glut on there? Because people's going to add that already.
I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest.
Yes,
it's too early. I see a rerun of it.
The Pride's definitely on the top.
Pride needs to be there, though. Definitely. Yeah. I'm in there. Anyway, so just finishing off then, Cruise. Come on then. What are we looking forward to? What are we thinking about them? Can you remember what it said in the summer release? What it said about Cruise and that sort of stuff? State of the game piece.
I don't remember everything they said about Cruise aside from the fact that they're going to be looking at them and tweaking them, but they also mentioned that they were going to be introducing a new system called Permanent Captains.
Mm-hmm. Based on
I don't know what, but it's in the state of the game thing.
Yeah,
yes,
and they're also talking about bounty.
Yeah, the bounty thing, I mean, that's a separate issue, and it's something I think it's a bit too early yet to even consider having an opinion when we don't. It seems very early. The bounty hunt event and that sort of stuff. Yeah, but the
concept seems interesting. The execution we will have to see.
Jeff, you were saying, Mike? Sorry.
Yeah, I was noticing Laredo was saying in chat that he hears that we're going to like what they're doing with the Cruise.
Yeah, I'm just hoping they're going to link them to types, whether it to be being assault or whether it being to a faction you know, and that sort of stuff. But I think the things that won't change, you know, we can have Prideful and that sort of stuff, or we can have, you know, Bloodthirst and that sort of stuff. If that's staying and that's staying forever, then, you know, the iteration rolls through a cycle. That's great. But if not, I can imagine things like Assault staying and you know, Garrison staying. So if you just link them to a type, I think it would make it easier for Kickside, to be honest, as well, because they just go, right, we're building a new Garrison hull. What are the crews that affect Garrison? Okay, let's not make them overpowered, or let's make it so we're not going to break the game. As opposed to, oh, look, let's turn off this, or let's turn down this crew because we've just invented a ship. It's coming now, and actually you can kill the game by employing X, Y, or Z. You know. I don't know.
There's a lot of interesting things they can do. I mean, each class has its own particular damage type, the damages it needs to resist against. Specifically, I feel the ones that we don't really have a fortunate way to defend against, mostly corrosive, but in some sense concussive as well. We can get the other resists up pretty high, except for maybe a radioactive. Maybe something could give your fleet the unreactive ability. I think that would be broken, not in the sense of overpowered, but broken in the sense that it might not work. But there's that. There's damage type bonuses plus penetrative damage. Maybe you could have, like, the Molotov Maidens could stay a bit more spread, a bit more splash, just as general buffs. There's a lot of good things they can do. I just hope that, in addition to balancing the crews themselves, I hope that they don't force players to have specific crews in order to do raid targets at any level. Bullseye Brigade will help, yeah, but it shouldn't be necessary, and now it's not, and that's good. And I think they need to build that in going forward. Like, you shouldn't need a super corrosive crew to do the new Assault S tier. It will help your damage, yes, but you shouldn't need it.
There's a couple of things I'm just reading. I mean, I'm just literally reading through the road corrupt kit just to remind myself here. So, you know, a couple of things you could quote. Okay, you know, it says that crews will be helping you to get resources that you'll actually need. Crews will obviously be helping you to break the game for a few minutes. You know, crews will also be able to be rotated once per quarter, as per the adjustment plan. Well, that's obviously the cycle types and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, whether it's going to be attached to faction type, you know, that sort of stuff, or whether it's going to be attached to fleet, I don't know. It's interesting. And then obviously that perfect captain's piece. So,
yeah, as long as it doesn't take up more time in the game, because I'm already wasting a lot of time doing, you know, chores.
Stuff. Yeah, it should enhance, not replace. You know.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully the crews will be tested before they get rolled out too.
I'm sure we'll be testing them.
Don't hold your breath.
We will.
I hope we get to play with them. Yes. Yeah. And then the Raiders put a chat in there. It's just said, and Brian, yeah, I agree. We've expressed that to the team already. They're taking into consideration. So we'll see. We'll see. So anyway, we've hit the hour. It was 2 hours last week and that sort of stuff. But yeah, that was just because it just seemed to roll on and on. But there was a lot to talk about and that sort of stuff. Has anybody got anything they want to discuss that we haven't covered so far?
One thing I wanted to mention in regards to charged armors.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a corrosive charged armor in the upcoming raid.
Yeah.
10 mil a pop for 20 of them, guys.
Oh, you think so?
I wouldn't be surprised, at least at the 10 mil part.
I mean, they made these necessary, you know.
Yeah. These were supposed to be a luxury. Come on. These were meant to be a luxury, and now it seems just screwed without them.
Yeah, and after they changed them too, I forgot to mention that, but after they changed them, you know, they designed the gridiron and monolith around the old original one. I would hope they would look and see if they could add another armor slot to each of those boats, because now the charge is half of what it was. And after doing that TLC, you know, it does catch you.
Yeah. Also,
do you know one thing I'd just say, right? there's nothing worse than and they're really sneaky the way they say it, you know, because this game is indicative to people being the best and having the best and wanting to be the best and that sort of stuff. So if you sneak in a little thing called charged armor, for example, and you sneak it in at a really high price and that sort of stuff, so 10 million, and then you're thinking, right, I'm going to need 20 odd of these and that sort of stuff, and all of a sudden you go, do you know what? I wonder how crap my fleet would have been if I hadn't had these. And all of a sudden, you wouldn't dare go back and put D5X and D5M on and that sort of stuff just to try it. A, the weight issue is that sort of stuff, and B, the fixed time issue. And you know, once it's there, and everyone seems to be having it now. You show me a build that doesn't have it on it now. I have not seen a build in the last month and a half that does not include charge armor. So
I actually have a gridiron. I have a gridiron and monolith build that is designed around the D5s instead.
But would you build it and drive it?
I don't know. I would not. But if I can find somebody that's all they can build, I would love to see how they perform in the 113. Like I'm desperately trying.
I don't have any. I don't have any.
Okay. And how are you doing in the 113s at the moment?
Under 2 hours, but.
Okay, so it's quadruple roughly what George is.
Well, I got 17 minutes. You know that's a lot more than.
If that's not reason, that's not too bad, I think, to be honest, considering, you know, it's about investment versus return, isn't it? So, but the problem is, these FM targets now are going to be over for a long time. So, if you're taking, you know, let's just say an extra, that's per target, is it 2 hours roughly?
Yeah.
So per target, so you're going to take 2, 4, 6 hours. 6 hours. Let's just call it 7 because it seems to be 3 and a bit. So 7 hours per round extra. You know. Is that plausible? Is that okay? Do you reckon? Is that reasonable? Because you have to go out and get what 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 of the damn things.
Not if they're going to make these so hard to get.
That's not a luxury item then.
Yeah, that's a necessity.
No, but but it still means if he's too great. You know, if to be honest, that's
if I could just get a couple for my tank, I'd be happy. But
yeah.
But I think what TSM's saying, we have a week to do it. So, you know, getting 7 hours of damage to complete it once seems reasonable.
Yeah, I think
basically you're going to get 14 to do it twice. The only time I think it becomes an issue is a week like this week, where you're also required to use those same fleets in a TLC, and that makes it a little less of a luxury and makes it a little bit more of a requirement to lower your the damage for the FM, because you have to use that for yet another chore.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree heavily there. I mean, I'm already thinking, you know, okay, this raid aside, I'm hoping there's hardly anything in it that I need myself, you know. So I'm already thinking, well, dash the damage in the raid. I'm now building perfect for the new raid the new FM format, and actually, to hell with the rest of it. You know, I'm happy. You know, and I tested this week. I went out, as you saw in the video that for those that watched it on the page of ours. I went out and I just sod it. You know, actually, somebody right next to me was just going into a 113 with his monolith. So I thought, right, I'm going to see if I can do my 113s with my icebreakers. I managed to smash out 3.5 in the same time that he was still in the same target. You know, yeah, I took 7.5 hours damage, but it took me 11 minutes finished. You know, and he was still in the same target. Now, clearly people will get their timelines down and that sort of stuff, but I can also improve my pathing and probably get my timeline down and my damage down. But I was really just going for it like a freaking idiot, and I wasn't taking any particular path and that sort of stuff. But at least I can just get it over and done with and just press fix. And the next day I can do it again.
Yep. You
know, so as long as they don't price me out of the market by using those things, because they weren't cheap. And yes, I have got, you know, I have got charged armors on all of them and that sort of stuff. And yes, I have refitted to the other rockets, but then again, I use tokens to do that, which I gained using that fleet in the first place. So, you know, I don't know. It's, yeah. I see Jeff actually probably maybe being if he's happy and he can get himself through this next raid, I think he's probably quite justifiable not to bother about charged armor. Those particular 2 charged armor anyway. I just think
we need the missile one for probably the next cycle.
We could need the missile one. Could. We've done the damage format yet. We haven't actually been told. Well, we know it's Reaver and that sort of stuff, because by the hint of all the fire and that sort of stuff. But what if they make an adjustment? Well, they can't really make an adjustment.
Or a new
Not to the
radioactive
damage types, no.
Yeah, a radioactive one I can see, maybe.
No. If they make adjustments to the damage types, there's going to be a lot of serious problems. That's breaking a huge trust. I mean, I think I can sort of see what you're saying, because they're saying the Apollo should do well in B sets. So if they were to do that, maybe the A sets and above would have a different damage type. But there's no way.
That would be screwy if they split the raid. Half gets missile and whatever. The other half gets a brand new damage type.
No, missile. No, it's just missile and corrosive versus like missile and radioactive. That would be.
I mean, that's what it has been to date, hasn't it? It's been missile and corrosive. So yeah, I can see a corrosive plate coming out.
I mean, they also said that the Apollo is only going to be good in the B set. So they might have the B and C sets, one type of damage combination, and then the A's and the S target something else. They could do that too.
I mean, what if it was missile and corrosive? Now, based off Jeff's information there, you could almost go, well, damn it then. I'm going to take all the change time is expensive, I know that, but it is only time. You could take all the missile ones off your grids, because if you're happy to say, like Jeff has, that he can do it with 7.5 hours damage, you can chuck them on your newest, whatever the assault hull's going to be, and all you got to do then is go and get the notional that we aren't guaranteeing it's ever going to happen, the corrosive one, if that's the case, sort of stuff, if that's what they're going to bring out, if they're even doing any more charge armors, I don't know what they're doing, but there are other options, for this luxury item that we didn't have to have.
Yeah. The charged armors are limited to type too, are they not? Like the M is assault, garrison, and generalist.
Yeah.
And the X is garrison, generalists, skirmish.
Yeah,
so,
garrison, skirmish.
So if they already had put in assault for the M, I could see them coming out with more charged armors going forward.
Well, it definitely seems to have worked, because a lot more people have been getting a lot more point. The problem is we're creeping massively on point requirements, aren't we?
It's nuts. You used to be able to finish the raid. Yeah, you used to be able to finish the raid in a couple of hours if you wanted to coin a little bit and romp through it. And now it's like I said, if we have to get 1 billion points to get all the everything that's going to be offered for the top end players, that's 40 hours of playtime on just S targets if you're whacking them at 12 minutes apiece, and that's assuming everything goes right. There's no glitches, there's no SOSs, and you have the coin to repair when you need to repair. I mean, we're talking coin and time, which is not a good combination. That's not a good combination for a player.
That's a job. At that point, you need to pay us to play your game.
I
mean, we're doing your beta testing and your math for you, Kixeye, because me. So
and we won't even go about the hey, I figured something out and now you guys are going to change it so it doesn't work anymore. I'm getting that game's getting old.
I'll tell you what, because I think there's open mic and that sort of stuff. Talking about we're doing this for you, we're talking about. Did anybody see? And I really don't mind mentioning this on. Did anybody see Huggy's comment on his own page?
Yep.
About somebody asking, say, can we have your code because we can't work out what you've done, but it seems to be really good.
Yep.
I thought that was proper cheeky. Probably wasn't meant in that way, but isn't that interesting? That
say that, yes.
Well, I did think it was interesting that and it could have been handled off the page, but that they were talking about the ability to share builds within the game, and I thought that was kind of an interesting comment, and that was what prompted them asking for that information.
So, if we're looking at a 10-digit raid points, do we still go with the usual excuse of blaming Holsch, asking for more stuff to spend his points on?
What? No. Stop.
No.
Just stop.
Yes.
We blame. You know how TSM said early on it was 350 million were stupid Americans? Because, he did not say that we were stupid Americans. That was me.
No,
I said that. Because we add a bunch of zeros to everything. That we blame marketing and product and just, find a stake and burn them at it.
Yeah, I mean, our games generally finish 2-1 or 3-0 and that sort of stuff.
Nil draw,
nil draws. No one wins. It's just 0-0. That's it. And that was a good game. Everyone enjoyed it. They all shake hands and off they go again. But it doesn't quite work that way for you guys, does it?
No, we need large numbers.
We need those zeros.
Yeah, it just amuses me. But the game's going that way, which is frustrating because I don't know, and maybe something that someone who really likes doing stats could look at. Going back over the last, if you just pick 2 raids from this, so the last 2 raids, and then a comparative 2 raids from this time last year, and a comparative 2 raids from the year before, and just seeing the points demand based off those 3 years worth. I'd be interested.
The last couple have been, we're talking like hundreds of millions of points, and those with 3-day raids. I mean, what the hell?
I don't have that data, but if you give me that data, I will do things with that data.
I'm sure we can get that together.
And the points per target are less than they used to be.
Well, relatively less because the point inflation, the first raid in this cycle, the points were technically cheaper in that you had to do fewer sets to get the prizes, but they've reduced that over time, so that's not the case anymore. You actually have to do more now comparatively than you did then. Nine's what?
I was going to say, keep it in your free time with what you do with it.
No, but I was saying a couple years ago when I started doing raids, the targets were worth more, and the prizes were cheaper.
Yeah.
It's not only that though; it's the overall amount that you need. As say you pick a top end PvE player, right? And back in not even a year ago, I mean we were down to hell, just like in September of last year. What did you need to get everything? Like 60 million?
Yeah,
million?
Something like that. Yeah,
that was a greedy score, wasn't it? 60 was greedy.
Yeah, that was a greedy score. If you hit 100 million points, you were you're jockeying for spots or something. Now, the last couple of raids, it's like, oh yeah, you need like 230 million. What the hell? How did we go from 50-60 million to 230 million in the span of like 5 months? What the hell? That's just not. It's not fun. It drains the fun out of the game in such a quick way.
And that's the key point. Word there is game. Not job. And there are so many people that are just frustrated with the time that it's taking to do things. And I mean, I don't mind a hard target. I don't mind taking damage, but it should not have to take 15 minutes for me to kill a piece of it. And then, if they throw in another S target to complete the set for the bonus, then now I'm looking at half an hour. It's just, people have lives. It's summertime. They're going to see a lot less people in the game now, a lot less people, they're going to be outside doing stuff, and it just shouldn't have to be work.
And the thing is too, like, what do we get out of this? Like, if I spend a lot of time getting up all of my magic skills in another game, then I can waltz into the end game dungeons, and my style will be different depending on what I pick, but I'll be able to do a very large amount of the content in that game with the abilities that I spent time and points in getting. Here, you get maybe sort of good tech for a quarter of the game if you pick the left side until 6 weeks later and they change everything, or you get something on the right, which is PvP, which a lot of people are struggling to find time to build, even when you give us tokens out of everywhere, because the PvE builds that are what we are supposed to build first take so long, and we don't get near as much help for that.
Okay, so my point I was going to come up to, and George, just out of interest, for a 113, what could you get down to a full target, one hit? How long does it take you roughly?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe 4 minutes. 5
minutes. 8 minutes?
Not even.
So 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I could check the video.
Approximately. So you've got them down to about 5 minutes a target. Okay. All right. So 5 minutes a target. Okay. And if those targets are going to be worth, I don't know. Let's just say they keep the target point price at the same. If we're going exponentially as we are now, and the hint from the radio, it could be into, hundreds of millions to get everything that you want. Almost to 1 billion points. How much ass time is that in the chair? It's a ridiculous amount. It's a ridiculous amount of time.
Well, here's
you've got to stop.
There's another
exponential climb of these points. It's got to stop.
There's another aspect to it, and I kind of touched on it. Well, actually, I went off on it last night a little bit. A lot of the players are frustrated right now, and a lot of them are reactionary to what's come out. Like the Mud Glut came out, and everyone freaked out and this and that. But when you start asking them some questions, you find that it's not just the one thing. It's like a cumulative effect of everything, because all these targets from the raids are supposed to transition into map targets, and they're supposed to be tuned down for us on the map, which they really aren't, because they're still punitive as hell. You mess up a little bit in one of the mines and you're toast, right?
Exactly.
These targets are all taking a lot of time. They're chores. I mean, they're chores. I want to auto my chores, I'll be honest, because I would rather play other aspects of the game. But these are all targets that take time. They're all targets that require precision, which is not, like, I don't want to sit here and be precise on every single thing and take 20 minutes to do one chore and then go to the next chore and then go to the next chore. It's just not, this is not fun. And it's compounding every time they do this, right? Because now, instead of being able to just auto like your base parts, right? You can't auto your base parts. Now you got to go in and drive your cannoneers and be precise. And if you mess up your timing, well, you got a couple hours of repair, right? So what are you going to repair first? When are you going to play again? I mean, if I did my FM and I need to repair that, and I got hit and I got to repair my base guard, and then I needed some base parts and I need to repair that, well, shit, I'm not playing for another day or two. It's a cumulative thing for all of it, because now everything's taking a lot of time. Everything's very precise driving. Everything is punitive in nature if you mess up or if you lag or whatever. And I think, it's not, if you look at just one of them by themselves, it's not bad. Okay, I mean, let's be honest. If you're just looking at, say, like the FM, the 113 isn't really that bad once you figure it out and you got your stuff going. I think
it's quite
going,
decent,
right?
actually. I have to say, we said that in the week, didn't we?
Yeah, but then if you combine that with everything, if you step back and look at the bigger picture of everything and go, okay, well, I got to do my FM, and then I got to do the base parts, and I got to do my uranium, and then I got to do my titanium, and you're looking at all the stuff that you got to do, and it's a time suck. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do first? And then, when in that aspect, where are you going to find time to do the fun stuff like hitting bases? Or, I mean, it's, individually they're not bad, but when you take the cumulative effect and you look at everything together, there's a problem. And I don't know if they've quite realized that, because, when you're on the other side of it, you're concentrating on the aspect that you're on. So maybe they haven't taken a step back and looked at it, but I think they gotta. I think someone's got to step back and take a look at it and go, okay, hold on a minute. Something's not right now. The fun is gone for some reason, and figure out what it is.
Exactly. A contentious thing. I just thought, yeah, no, I get it. Something contentious, right? If they're encouraging people to get tons of points and people are getting it easy and that sort of stuff, or not easy and that sort of stuff, but if you're investing a lot of time, should you get a return for that points? Let's say you got everything you want in your raid and you were at, say, I don't know, let's just say it cost you 230 million and that sort of stuff, and you ended up with 70 million back. What about if they were to give you a coin per million or something like that, or a coin per 10 million? Or a token or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it'd be a coin. Maybe it'd be something just to say, we all know that in general, forget too much about the tech stores, but in general context, up to a limit, you can only get so much. Maybe it's 100 coins or something for a raid, but maybe, or maybe I'm just going down an avenue. Maybe we should. I can't
even entertain that, because I don't think that's even on the table ever.
No, I don't say it is on the table.
Well, maybe not coin and tokens, but even
for resources.
Yeah,
I mean, they have been giving us a lot more tokens. That's always a plus.
What about, I don't know, flipping, you do all your FM and that sort of stuff, and actually you go like hit a 113, get right the way through the center and do it in one hit, and then you get 2 coins for doing it, so you actually bother your ass going doing it. People that don't get coins at all or don't get a chance to spend actually gain something by building something and then achieving something at the end of it. I don't know. For the big corner, that sort of level is going to make no difference whatsoever. But for Mr. Average, that's going to give him like 15 coins a week, and over a month, that's a fiver's worth for us in the UK. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, and that's actually one of the things Extra Credits went over it a while back when they were talking about monetization. If you allow people to earn a small amount of pay currency in your game, then they might be enticed into buying something from the premium store. And after they do that the first time, they're a lot more likely to do it the second time, even if it was for free. They might think the amount of time that they take to get that, in this case, seat time and repair time, and the amount of time that they save, in this case, half an hour per coin, they might think that they're spending money to get that coin faster. They might think that it's worth it. And then now you have a paying player where you wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah, it's just an idea.
It makes people feel that like they're not forced to spend money on the game.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know. It's just an idea. Right, look, guys. It's a busy time here for me as well at the moment, and I need to shoot off. So there will be an after show. I won't be in it myself, but I'll just say for the live part. Then thanks all for coming in. Thanks all for a chat. Loretta, you put some good comments in there, mate, this week. That sort of stuff. There's been some people with some interesting comments, and we've had to time a few people out. But hey, you know what? There are fools in every aspect of life.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
So that's the reality of it. So I'll just say thanks, everybody. Interesting conversations tonight and some good topics and that sort of stuff. So for those that are obviously still struggling with those 113s, there are a heap of videos out there and that sort of stuff already. And it is only week one. As I said, please be cautious because the targets, I'm not saying the difficulty or the size and shape of them will change, but definitely they're going to dance things around a little bit, whether it's the payout per sec part of it and that sort of stuff, or whether they the way that the balance of the target is created, that may adjust as well. So it always happens. Okay, and until they're content with their return, you aren't going to be able to work out whether you're content with your return. That's all I can say.
And I want to add, Robin has put up the poll on the TFC for anything that you guys want to see in the next raid. Please fill it out. You can put more than one thing in there. Do look at the list first and make sure that you're not writing on the same thing that's already up there somewhere else. But yeah, absolutely, go in there, give us some ideas, and we'll pass them on. And I'm already seeing somebody put in like less lag. I mean, come on, guys.
There's some
You're not going to get that from a raid try. No.
Yeah, help us help you. I mean,
we'll cut out the top 10 anyway, so that as we always do. So if you've got a stupidity comment, and then fill your boots and waste your own 1 second for doing it. But we will streamline them down anyway. So I have to say I quite like the one at the bottom saying a fully built package. Of maybe not the latest hulls, but something already. That's interesting.
I mean, that's not a bad idea for a good amount of points. Instead of having to do each individual one, go, hey, you know what?
I mean, they've done that with with some of the packs, where you can actually you can buy some stuff and it comes with a ship that's got this gun on it and it's got this engine and it's got these specials. So it's another way of doing it, isn't it? If it's cost you money to get that, then that's another way of doing it. It's interesting. Right, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks to the panel. Thanks to the guys in chat. Have a good remaining part of the weekend, and we'll speak to you all on Tuesday for the next update. Take care.
All right.
All right.
Good night, everybody.